It's time for You Lost Your Life with your hosts, Crash Dummies, Vince and Larry.
Hi.
Hello. and welcome to the show that proves if you don't buckle your safety belt, the loser is you.
That's right, Vince, and by not buckling up, you could end up in places you never dreamed.
Like traction!
Or the emergency room!
Plus, Larry, if you're not buckled up, you could maybe take a ride in a beauty like this. Stay tuned!
You could learn a lot from a dummy.
Yeah, now police are searching for that gunman. This is all happening on Beasley and McGowan near downtown Houston. Channel 2's Kathy Hernandez is live at the scene. Kathy, police say the victim knows who the shooter is.
That's right. They knew each other because the shooter is actually the ex-boyfriend of the victim's sister. Because the shooter is actually the ex-boyfriend of the victim's sister. Little confusing here. It all happened here inside this home. Police tell us they know who that shooter is, and right now they're working on getting a warrant for his arrest. On the left of this picture is the victim, 34-year-old Quincy Stewart. Next to him is his sister. They say he was trying to protect her before the shooting. Family members say that woman and her ex-boyfriend, who is also the father of her children, got into an argument inside the home on Beasley and McGowan just before 5 this morning. They say it turned physical, and she called her brother for help.
He pistol whipped her, put a knot on her head, busted her head open, and when our brother came in there, he shot our brother. It was a whole bunch of kids, and it was like 3 or 4 adults up in there. It's senseless. Like, well, what you gonna do out there for all them kids up in there? Them kids could have got shot.
Immediately, what jumps out to me about this interview is that instead of this woman singing the praises of the brother who came to the rescue, sacrificed his body to try and protect his sister who had chosen the kind of man that she probably should not have chosen, she's speaking of the fact that the ex-boyfriend, the one that, again, the woman chose to have children with, was acting this way in front of the kids that were their kids. It's strange to me that the focus is not on the hero, it's on this bad man, and the way that he was acting could have hurt one of the kids, which is of course sad, but where is the singing of the praises of the man who came to the rescue? And the answer is, he's just supposed to be a crash test dummy.
That's it. I'm history. End of the road.
You can't quit, Vince. No crash dummy takes out a utility pole like you do.
Larry, for years I've been proving how safety belts save lives, but nobody's listening.
Sure they are.
Yeah, that's why thousands die in car accidents every year. I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall.
Come on, Vince. Tomorrow's the big day. 2 compacts. Head on.
High speed?
Could save a life.
No, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You could learn a lot from a dummy.
Also happening right now, Houston police are working to find the man who they say shot 3 family members in Southeast Houston overnight. The 3 men were trying to protect a girl who police say a suspect was assaulting. Well, the men are expected to survive, and the man who shot them is still on the run.
2 people were shot by a woman's ex-boyfriend this morning in Jacksonville's San Jose neighborhood. That's according to police. News4Jax reporter Aaron Farrar spoke with some neighbors about the situation.
Evidence markers sit at the doorway where a brother and sister were shot just before 4 o'clock this morning by the woman's ex-boyfriend. Police say the woman's ex-boyfriend broke into that apartment where you see the door open through the back of the apartment right before that shooting happened. After forcing his way inside, the man fired 1 shot, and that single bullet hit both siblings, according to Sergeant Karen Dukes with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
That actually went through the female's cheek and then struck her brother behind her in his right arm.
The siblings were treated for their injuries at a hospital. Police say the man ran away from the apartments after the shooting. There were 3 children who were sleeping inside the apartment at the time.
Black America is weak. Black America has been discombobulated. Black America has been completely dismantled right now. All this stuff that you see, all these reports about all this unaliving and all that stuff, it is simply a manifestation of the weakening and decimation of Black society. That's all it is.
This is the difference between man and women, right? Women don't know how to leave the hero a hero, right?
Yeah.
We over-sexualize these kids as women. your dad did this to me.
I was just being greedy. I wasn't protecting her and protecting those vows. She was awesome. She really was. I can honestly say it was all me.
Your dad did. Remember we were just talking about kids don't know what they don't know, right?
You were.
Every time since you've been younger, when that mom calls the dad, what the dad say? You better listen to your mom, even if the dad, even if they arguing.
Yes.
Dads know how to keep the hero alive.
I had the perfect situation. Wife was finer than a mug, kept giving me babies, still finer than a mug. I had it all, and I don't make excuses. I know I messed up. I was lost.
Because we know, dogs, right? Moms feel. So they tell kids lies in order to be right in their own story. Remember we told Makeup? The wolf in sheep clothing. Women lie so much, that's why you can't ask them if they're telling the truth when they say they've been, right? You can't ask them if they right. You just gotta take the truth, and then now, right, Kobe Bryant is dead now and can't even defend his name.
76,000 square foot house by yourself, lost. No kids, go to the gym, nobody's playing in the gym. You go to their room, nobody's there. You start to feel it.
Right? It's like people go through things as women, and then y'all let women lie just because y'all want to fuck them in their makeup.
The destruction, decades and decades of norm destruction. Black people are going crazy right now because of decades and decades and decades of norm destruction. You destroyed the family, you destroyed the fatherhood, you destroyed masculinity, you destroyed everything. And now we are weeping the whirlwind of destruction. This is what's happening. Black people are falling apart right now because you completely destroyed culture. White people told you to destroy your families. White people told you to destroy fathers. They told you to destroy religion, to be secular and all that kind of stuff. And now you're reaping the whirlwind right now.
When we hear Shaquille O'Neal apologize for his marriage not working out, it's the kind of one-way accountability that we're all used to. I like that he owned his stuff publicly too. I'm glad Shaq admits he was wrong and was accountable for his actions. This is what accountability looks like. Like the saying goes, you miss what you had when it's gone. I have the utmost respect for Shaq. He tells it like it is, and of course what we're always used to hearing, Shaq is a real man for being honest. But what's interesting about all of this, including their marriage, was that she was married when she met Shaq. And she was going around town while she was still married, dating Shaq. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is we never saw her make this kind of apology to her ex-husband. And matter of fact, many of us didn't even know she was married because they found a way to try and sweep it under the rug so it wasn't a big deal and it didn't make everyone look so bad. But it goes back to what Michael Beasley was just telling us.
This is the difference between man and women, right? Women don't know how to leave the hero a hero. Dads know how to keep the hero alive.
There seems to be a new phenomenon emerging, what accountable commentary refers to as the reachback, but I think this is a second kind of reachback where in the past, your brother and your father would be the one that would select your mate. He would be the one that say, I like him, I accept him, or I don't. But now you've done away with that selection, but you still want that man to come to your rescue in case things go south. And if you decide that you get the tingles from a guy that is a dangerous man, you could essentially have your brother, your father, the well-meaning men in your family wiped out. And so for those guys that are either the brothers or the well-meaning men, or even just the men that you turn down, if you come back to those guys later and say, it's your job to protect me, you just get a mess. And that's exactly where we are.
All this unaliving, Justin Fairfax, the brother from Louisiana, Ashley, Janae, going back to last week, Ashley, Janae, all these people losing their lives. All these black folks, men and women, they're no longer here. Domestic situations. And no one wants to talk about the death of culture. No one wants to talk about it. Why is all this stuff going on? No one wants to get to the nitty-gritty. The death of culture. When you destroy family, when you destroy the nuclear family, when you destroy extended families, when you destroy all things related to family, when you destroy fatherhood, you destroy familyhood, you destroy the traditional idea of a mother, you destroy all that stuff, what do you think is going to happen?
1, 2, 1, 2. Larry, you know, this simple exercise can help you stay healthy, which keeps medical costs down.
But you gotta do it every day, Vince. Or you'll get out of shape fast.
You could learn a lot from a dummy.
How do we, with our homeboys in particular, what are some of the, and I'm treating you like my damn psychologist right now. I'm just throwing out questions to help better my life. So just forgive me for that. But what do we do with those pre-crash outs?
There's some situations where we need to tell that woman to protect herself and get out.
That's true.
I am deeply concerned about the safety of our women.
You got black boys out here killing their mamas now. You have black males. Black males are killing their mothers now. This is unprecedented among black people. How do you explain that? You can't just talk about, oh, it's just misogyny, it's the patriarchy, those simplistic, feminist, stupid ideas.
If we recognize that a brother is at that point, we need to talk to that sister and help that sister make sure that she is safe. That is the position that I think we need to take first. Then we need to do everything within our power to get that brother the resources and the help that he can get. Because we've defined ourselves as macho and defined ourselves as men by how violent we can be. The truth of the matter is, the greatest men I know have taken the time to love me. My biological father was an alcoholic till I was 10 years old. My uncle William became my father. When I was 8 and my daddy wasn't there, and I was getting kicked out of school and I was a bad emotional kid, that man sat with me and he cried with me.
It's the patriarchy, it's misogyny. These anti-intellectual, anti-analytical people. You have a cumulative condition, the complete collapse of structures and norms.
Take the time to cry with another black man. Let him get it out. We spend so much time telling men, get over it. You're going to be all right, dog. We sex our way out of it. We drug our way through it. We go from one woman to the next woman, abusing them sexually. And then we end up with the baggage that we can't handle. And then we take all of that out on the people around us.
If you have worked for decades to destroy the basic norms that have held human beings together, the inevitable result will be situations like this. A boy will kill his mother, a girl will kill her father. If you have worked for decades to destroy families and cultures and institutions for decades and decades and decades, this is the inevitable result.
I know some of the things because they taught us as men not to feel that we don't always know how to process through. But let yourself feel it. Let yourself feel the pain. And then let yourself get to the point where you realize the pain subsides.
When you don't have a culture, you don't have a community, you don't know what community, you cannot even define what community is. Black Americans cannot even define what community is.
And we as men have to have that conversation with men, but we have to protect the women first. Our first obligation is to protect these women.
These people talking about the doggone tribe. She can't even tell you what a tribe is. This feminist, this womanist, she can't tell you what a tribe is. You cannot define community in 2026. Communities are not nihilistic. Communities do not engage in wanton homicide. You don't have reckless death in quote unquote communities. That's not what a community is.
As a father of a 16-year-old daughter, I don't want nobody to harm my baby. And I want us to see every black woman like it's our baby. If you don't want nobody to do that to your child, don't do that to nobody else's child. Every black woman is somebody else's child.
I need a drug dealer and then a scammer, then fuck the 9 to 5. I want the scammer first, then the drug dealer, then the 9 to 5.
Scammer, drug dealer, or 9 to 5?
Drug dealer. I want him to move that way. Scammer, 9 to 5, drug dealer.
Wow, that was quick. Oh, you had this planned out.
I told the world I prefer 9 to 5, but I really want a scammer in my heart. No funny shit. Drug dealers.
Wow.
I mean, I'm used to drug dealers.
You said what?
I'm used to drug dealers. Probably a scammer as long as he don't get me messed up in his little works. He could do whatever he needs to do. As long as he gives me some bread, then he's good to go. The world knows 9 to 5, you know, a clean-cut man, but heck yeah, I want a scammer. I'm not going to lie to you.
And you are dealing with the casualties, the manifestations, the outgrowth of the fact that you have worked deliberately for decades to completely destroy culture, family, gender roles, norms. You destroyed norms over decades, and this is the result of the destruction of norms for decades.
If you were a child of the 80s, there's no doubt you remember the Crash Test Dummies commercials. It was a campaign to get people who in the 70s were doing things like smoking and drinking while driving and driving very fast without wearing seatbelts, and it was kind of normal, and there were some gruesome accidents because of it. I remember very clearly my driving school teacher was a lady that walked with a limp. She was, I think, from Ohio, one of the places where her father, she said, worked at a GM plant. And as a teenager, she got into a wreck that hurt her leg, and for the rest of her life, she was limping. And what she essentially told us is that you should never get in the car of someone driving that you don't trust with your life. And that can be said with relationships as well, because when relationships go bad, it hurts everyone involved, especially the person that didn't see it coming. But the premise of the Crash Test Dummies commercial was that the dummies saw themselves as expendable, that they should keep getting in these cars that are crashing and that's just their job. Well, this idea that you're supposed to come and save young ladies that are getting in these relationships with guys that are not very safe, and you should come to their aid because that's what a real man does, that is almost a complete breakdown of community. A woman who would not give you the time of day, she would not date you when she is at her most attractive, but she needs you, the man that she does not give any attention to come to her aid when the guy she chooses that may not be the best guy for her is acting up. That is a complete breach of the social contract. You're essentially telling the guy you don't want to come save you when you need him, even though you don't want him. There's nobody that's going to sign up for that.
We're in 2026, and 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old girls are having babies as though we are still in the 80s and the 90s. Do you know why that happens? Because you have completely destroyed culture. You destroyed it for the sake of this idea of freedom and empowerment. You destroyed it. You said you did not want to have any type of obligations. You said you do not want to have any type of duty, and now because you believe in this idea of reckless individualism and freedom, you got 10-year-old girls, 13-year-old girls, 12-year-old boys, 13-year-old boys. They are becoming parents in the way in which they were today that they were becoming parents back in the 1980s and 1990s. I remember I lived through the 80s. I remember when I was coming through the 80s and 12-year-old girls were getting pregnant and 13-year-old girls were getting pregnant and 13-year-old boys were impregnated, all that kind of stuff. Because you don't give a fuck about culture. That's why. And you can't blame that on white people. That's white supremacy. Oh, it's white supremacy. White supremacy. White supremacy. This is what the elites say. The Negroes at Harvard and Princeton and Yale, the Negroes who grew up in two-parent households. It's white supremacy. It's white supremacy. Beta males. You don't have a group of black men who will put their foot down and say, this is some bullshit. You don't have beta males. What happens is you got so many beta males that there is an absence of men who will put their foot down and say, this is some nonsense. That's what it is. You got too many beta males who go along with this stuff. You don't have enough men who are willing to say this stuff is crazy. You don't have male leadership. The beta male is not a real leader.
It goes without saying when discussing an issue as serious as black femicide that it's something that affects all of us. We as black men have mothers, sisters, cousins, daughters, and we want them to be treated a certain way when they're involved with men. But the difficulty, of course, in this modern environment is that the old system where your father, your grandfather, the men of your family vetted the man before you even got serious with the man, and you waited until you got married, and you had this community of people essentially policing the behavior of both of you in the marriage, has been stripped away because since the 1990s, it's strong, independent woman. I don't need no man, and it's my body, my choice, so I can have free relations with the guys of my choosing. And if some of those guys are some guys that are living racier lives and the boring guy that maybe you didn't find as attractive in your early 20s are not the best ones for you to be with, sometimes the way that ends up is not necessarily in the best of endings. But if you're going to come to certain guys who have never had the authority to say, I don't think that's a guy you should be dating, or better yet, you didn't really find that guy attractive, but you want him to come and protect you because that's what a good man is supposed to do, that is not going to work in this modern environment where essentially there are more and more men looking at this new environment and saying, I don't know what that man does. I don't know who he runs with. I don't know how dangerous he is. We have never had the chance to vet that man. If you're choosing to be intimate with that man and you want me to protect you from him, I don't know what he does, what kind of guy he's like. I don't know anything about him. And so you're essentially telling guys that you either didn't value their judgment or authority, or guys that you passed on as not the guys you wanted to date, to come and police a guy who makes your body tingle, even though you don't know what kind of life he's in. That is a very difficult ask for guys who are looking at a modern dating environment where young ladies are providing less and less, demanding more and more, and essentially are not being very nice to men outside of telling men what they are supposed to do because that's what a quote unquote real man does. It's easier for some guys to just stay home, watch TV, play some video games, and order some pizza. Being a crash test dummy is not a rewarding life at all. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.